Welcome back. It's me, Danny, the Sherpa to Six Figures. And today I'm going to be talking to you about my 3 biggest mistakes. It's not a topic that I'm overly excited to talk about, but I know that it's going to be able to help you, okay? It's going to help you avoid making these mistakes, as well as going to make you so much money. I wish I would have known this when I was starting out in real estate. And if this is your first video, consider subscribing down below. Make these videos consistently and hope that every agent who watches this will get to 6 figures within 12 months. Let's jump in. So my first mistake that I made as a newer agent was omission. Okay, and what that means is that I left something out of a deal. And to explain this, it happened when I was dealing with a out-of-state buyer. Okay, I was representing the buyer on this $300,000 duplex. And what happened was, because they're out of town, okay, I go to this inspection, right? And so it's me, the inspector, and the tenant in one of the units. The tenant is discussing with the inspector about how there's different rodents and rats in the unit, and I'm just standing beside him, okay? I hear this, and I think, okay, well, surely the inspector is gonna tell the buyer, okay, whether verbally or on the report, that there's going to be some rodents or some rats in the unit. I didn't think anything of it. So down the line, okay, we get to closing, all that's fine, we close the deal. After closing, apparently the tenant who is still in there talks to the new owner and says, hey, I told the inspector and I told your agent about these rodents and these rats. Why are they still not being taken care of? Why are they still here? And so the owner then comes back to me and says, hey, Danny, I didn't hear about these rats. What's going on? I should have been more forthright with my buyer. Trust is such a fragile thing. It takes forever to build, and then in a moment it's gone. If I'm being honest with you guys right now, I let my desire for the closing change the way that I would have acted. So if there was no money on the line, if there was absolutely nothing that I could lose, I probably would have told the buyer, hey, did you hear that there's some rats and maybe some serious issues going on with as far as rodents? But I didn't. And that's a mistake of mine. I let my desire for the closing change the way that I would have acted, okay? And so the reason why this is such a big mistake is because of not this one particular deal, but the idea of trust. Okay, the trust between an agent and a client is so imperative, so vital to the transaction. Without that trust, the deal will not get done. They have to trust and know without a shadow of a doubt that you are representing them without any conflict of interest, without your interest in them. You are signing up to put their interest ahead of your own. So in that moment, okay, I put my interest, okay? I wanted to get that deal closed ahead of theirs. And so that was wrong of me. That was a mistake. And so since then, I've valued this gorgeous thing called trust. Have your client's interest in mind the whole way. So the second mistake that I made was inconsistency. Okay, so what that means is when I was just starting out, I was doing a lot of prospecting, a lot of follow-up calls, a lot of touches to my spear. Okay, and so I would do a lot of these actions that would generate business. And then I would get so busy with that business that I forget to do all the things that created that business. Okay, so I would be super low, okay, have no business. I would do a lot of prospecting, do a lot of follow-ups, and this business would rise, but I would stop doing these things that were getting the business, okay? And so what happened was that I began to do this roller coaster ride, and you see that in so many agents, okay? They don't have any consistency to their schedule, and so they're kind of very reactive to the business. So if you are newer to the business, I want you guys to realize you need to prioritize prospecting. Okay, or follow-ups or any type of lead generation. Without leads, your pipeline is going to dry up, and without a pipeline, there's no business. What you do today is not going to pay you today. What you do today in real estate pays you 3 to 6 months down the road. So you have to have that big vision, that long-term scope in this business. Okay, without it, you will fail. Being inconsistent led to this real up and down. Okay, some months were great, $10,000, $20,000. Some months were zero. Okay, some months were 2, some months were 5, 10, 20, and then again. And so what I realized that if I could prioritize prospecting, okay, so every day I'm gonna make sure that I am following up with my 10 active buyers and sellers, okay? Every day I'm following up with my prospects that signed up to my website, okay? every day I have 3 to 4 hours that I'm specifically going to devote to business, okay, to working in my business, okay? Everything else, appointments, showings, all of that could be done later in the day. But the number one priority in your business has to be prospects, okay? Attracting new clients to your business, because again, without that, you're not filling up your pipeline. Without a pipeline, you won't be in business. So be consistent. And the third mistake that I made was not knowing my numbers, okay? Coming from being a teacher, I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't realize that I needed to know all of my specific metrics to a business, okay? So I would be doing these activities that were not as productive as I could be doing. It goes back to the Pareto principle, okay? The 80-20 rule. 20% of your actions are creating 80% of your revenue. And so if you are constantly focusing on that 20%, your 80% is going to continue to grow and grow, okay? So the whole idea is to be optimized or to be as efficient as you can. And so the only way to do that is to know your numbers. And how do you know your numbers? By tracking them. Okay, by tracking them. Okay, so point 2 is working in your business. Point 3 is to work on your business. The way that I did it was I took 10 to 15 minutes just to work in my business, okay, to basically track what I've done. How many phone calls did I make? How many appointments did I go on? How many showings did I do? How many contracts did I write? How many closings did I do? Okay, and then track the source. Okay, again, there's so many different softwares out there right now. The best one that I like is Optimize Agents. It is a very effective software because it has over 25 different key performance indicators that as a business owner you should know. Okay, most agents don't know them. Okay, they don't know what ROI on marketing they're getting. They don't know how many expenses they have. They don't know the net profit of their business. If I could go back in time, okay, I would start tracking my numbers. I would start knowing my numbers, because if I know my numbers, I'm able to predict the future. That is the reality. If you know your numbers, you could steer the business to the most effective places, and thus you're going to be able to make more money. Without knowing what works and what doesn't, you'll consistently waste time and you'll consistently waste money. And if you consistently do those two things, you'll consistently run out of business. It's just that simple. If you're not tracking and you're not knowing and you're not pivoting constantly in this world, you're going to run out of capital, or you're not going to be as effective, as lucrative as you can be, okay, as successful as you can be. There's a natural plateau that happens when you don't track your business. But if you know what works and you constantly are moving towards that and you constantly are adapting and pivoting towards the most effective aspects of your business, you're able to then grow your business at a much more rapid pace than someone who is not. The other key part about tracking your business, okay, if you know your numbers and you know your conversion rates, okay, so if you know for every 10 phone calls, you get 1 pickup, okay, and out of every 10 pickups, you get 1 appointment, okay, so you have 10 phone calls to one actual conversation. Out of this, you need 10 of those to get to 1 appointment, okay? So if you just know those numbers, then you can work backwards, okay? So if you wanted to change this number over here, those appointments, okay, you want to get to 5 appointments, then you just multiply everything by 5, okay? So that means 50 conversations, and that leads to 500 phone calls. The beauty about this is you basically have a crystal ball in your business. How many closings do you want to get? And once you have those numbers, then it's really all about just working backwards. So there it is, my 3 big mistakes as a new agent. So hope you enjoyed this. Hope you guys learned something from this. Hope this helps you get to 6 figures in 12 months. Thanks, guys. See you later.